Welcome in to episode 4 of season 2 of the Nerds Ruin Sports podcast. I am Zac Tipton, your host, and I'm joined by my stupendous and spectacular co-host, Anders Pryor.
Back to back new words in one intro.
I had to use it. I had to think. I had to get some words in there. I had to make sure the words.
I gotta start writing these down. We're gonna have a whole thesaurus by the time football season.
That's the plan. But Anders, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I just got a fresh haircut, so I feel brand new.
Yeah, you can see it. Love that.
I'm totally redone. I'm chewing mint gum, and I took a sip of my sparkling water, so I don't feel great about that. That was a big mistake. But football tonight, Zach, we're going to talk about it. I'm glad we're doing this on a Thursday. And, it's good. It's good to be back. Definitely excited for this one. We have a kind of a just like a random, like, hey, like, do you want to talk about these things today? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I was like, here we are. All right.
Absolutely. As you can see, there's a Coke bottle behind me. You can see it very small behind me next to the Viking. There's a Coke bottle behind me that will be officially in the background from every episode on. That is my custom-made Disney Coke bottle that has the Game Watch Club on it. Because it has Game Watch Club. I will admit, I went to Disney over the last week because I was in Florida. I was in Orlando, so I went to Disney. Yep. And they have the Coca-Cola store, and you can custom make your own Coca-Cola cans. And so I got one, and I said, to the Game Watch Colt. And they made me change it because Colt is apparently a bad word in Disney. So they yelled at me and forced me to change the word to club. So
Disney adults are the biggest cult we have.
Right? No, that is very true. So yeah, so it is to the Game Watch Club on that Coke can. And
bring it over. I gotta see this.
Okay, I'll be back.
I can't leave this stone unturned. Hold on. I'm getting real crave here. Oh, the Monopoly shirt too. We're getting all branded today. Take a gander.
Oh, and can you?
Oh, I can. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, that's really nice.
To the Game Watch Club.
Because
I can't put Colt.
We can say Colt on this show.
But they can't say Colt in Disney. I'll be back.
Take a Sharpie and scratch it off or something. Keep it nice and authentic. Oh. That's amazing, though. That's such a cool item.
Right. I was like, I had to get one. So anyway, that is that. But yes, so we will have a fun episode today. We're gonna start with our classic opener that I think we're gonna kind of be making our opener from this point on. The fantasy football how we doing opener. So as you know, me and Anders are in a bunch of fantasy leagues, and the two that we talk about most on this show are our Game Watch Colt League, with all our friends from Nova, in which Anders' team is kind of insane, and then the other league, which is my auction league, where I actually had to bid on players and I got my team and stuff, and it was not a great week in that one for me, but we'll start with the Game Watch Colt League here. And I will go to, I'm on the wrong page already, but it's fine. We can go to week 4, and I will start with Anders here. We always start with Anders' team in this one. Anders, can you remind me again which one is yours? I always link this up.
The Madden San Miguel predecessors. The one that looks like a stat
Anders
roster and is undefeated.
Won again this week with 129 points.
In full PPR.
In full PPR, and that was with a bad performance from Zamir White, who apparently will probably be being benched, I'm hearing from Anders really recently.
Yeah.
Zamir White. And great performances from really everyone else. Including this duo that is still insane to think about now that it kind of worked out that well. But that is crazy. But continue, Anders. Do you want to explain your I'm an idiot. I've not been screen sharing this whole time.
No, you haven't. Using their imagination.
Okay, people using them. So there we go. Wow, Anders won last week.
This guy's
129.84 to 103. Yep. And here's the team. Obviously, a bad week from Zamir White, but this duo between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors and Jamison Williams has kind of turned into a really solid team here. Anders, this bench is a little rough though. Besides Jerome Ford, this bench is a little rough in terms of wide receiver depth.
Yeah, so I am basically going to be starting Moss in my flex kind of going forward because I do Jerome
Zach Moss too. I didn't even see that. What in the that's insane.
So Jerome Ford was kind of like my, we know what he's going to be doing for the first 4 weeks of the season while Chubb is guaranteed to not be playing. And I thought that he was going to be a nice kind of complementary volume piece while Jonathan Brooks is on IR. Now he's activated, although realistically, I'm probably not going to be able to really reap the benefits of drafting him as a stash until probably week 7 or so. So I'm continuing my patience on that. But Zach Moss has been a perfectly serviceable, more than serviceable actually, flex. Jamison Williams has been great. He is on bye this week, and Cooper Kupp is going to miss his 3rd straight game. And so I'm going to have to roll. I'm going to have to be rolling with Adonai Mitchell in my flex here. That's kind of really the only person that I am really gonna feel comfortable with. Obviously, Auden goes tonight. I could do a double tight end there.
And also, isn't Malik Neighbors hurt and out this week? Isn't that confirmed that he is going to not play this week?
I don't. Today there was a report today that today was his most limited day of practice. So I'm gonna be monitoring that.
And also JT could also be out. So exactly what is your plan here in terms of
So obviously if JT is confirmed out, then Jerome Ford just goes in. I'll kind of make you see Adonai Mitchell is there as kind of my flex or third receiver, rather with Kupp out and with Jamison Williams on bye.
Jerome Ford is there to use in case you need him. Yes. Obviously. Would you say you're gonna play? Would you play Jerome Ford over Zamir White now, or are you gonna keep Zamir White in your starting lineup?
So if Jonathan Taylor is out, then obviously I'll just sub him in for that. If Jonathan Taylor is healthy, I am starting to reach a point where I might just have Ford be my starter, and so obviously I intend for Jonathan Brooks to be my kind of long-term RB2 for this league. But I feel like I have enough pieces. Obviously, Zach Moss being the home run that he's been has been a huge help for me. But I am fine. And obviously, I can put myself in a situation where maybe, if something happens with Ford or he has a dud week or something, doing JT, doing maybe like a Zach Moss and Jerome Ford, and then having Jamison Williams at kind of as my sort of flex along with Mitchell. I feel comfortable with. I feel like I have enough pieces where I can kind of scrape by and make enough viable combinations of players until Brooks can actually start to really produce.
Yes, that is fair. The question is like, if neither Neighbors or Taylor is available this week, obviously you would put Jerome Ford in for JT.
Yep.
Who would replace Mitchell for you, or would you pick somebody off the waivers?
That would probably just be a waiver pickup.
And in that case, let's look at some of these players now. We're going to look at players here. Look at wide receivers specifically.
The Dak Prescott Ferguson stack has been better because this has been a really rough year for tight end production to this point. Jake Ferguson went in at the tight end. I got him at the tight end 10 off the board. He's currently sitting at tight end 6. So I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, I mean, these are really your kind of best options.
Right.
At wide receivers. I guess we'll see where you go there. I'm curious to see what you do if neither of those guys are able to play. Looking at my team now, as I have said before, my team is bad in this league, but I got my first win of the season this past week versus an 0-4 Carter team. However, I will say, despite being an 0-4 team, I did have almost as many points as Anders this past week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only 3 points shy of Anders this week. However, if you look at the other scores, I mean, 170 points over there from Bivo is crazy.
Yep.
And then 250s. But I would have beaten a good amount of teams in the league this week. So that is
Brian Thomas had his best game of the year at this point.
Brian Thomas had a major year. Christian Kirk, the Jaguar stack in general, was kind of nutty this week. And then Justin Jefferson, James Conner, Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, all 3 of those guys I kind of put a lot of faith in. Yep. And even with a bad Josh Allen week, I was able to win. Although I will say Carter tried to make it a game here. He had both Geno Smith, David Montgomery, and Jake Bates on Monday night. And I was able to hold on here, thanks in part to Jahmyr Gibbs getting a bunch of points as well.
Yep.
From this point forward, though, my team's in a little rough shape. And I'll go to my team here and show you kind of where I'm at. So Jahmyr Gibbs on bye this week, and I have not replaced him because I was waiting to see if I would get Kareem Hunt, and I did get Kareem Hunt here. So I'm actually going to make that move now. Jahmyr Gibbs is starting for me this week. And Kareem Hunt will be starting for me this week as my RB2. And then Trey McBride, I'm moving him back into the starting tight end spot here. If he plays, I'm going to do that now. If he plays, that'd be a good person to have. And then I move Brock Bowers back to my bench. It is going to hurt not having Jahmyr Gibbs, but I'm really glad I was able to land Kareem Hunt off waivers because he might be a really nice home run pick for me, I'm hoping, in terms of the fact that he will be the starter at KC kind of going forward and the main guy for KC going forward. So
what is your leash on Ayuk? Like, I understand that in a 3-receiver league, in a 3-receiver league, he is kind of a must start just because of the offense. But how are you kind of approaching that? Like, do you have
how I'm approaching it right now is we're reaching bye season, so I really need him at this point to kind of start. But like in a normal week, there might be a talk of me putting Christian Kirk in over him and having like a Tyjae Spears be a flex option instead or something like that, and actually do benching him because right now what he's producing on the field obviously isn't good. How he continues to be projected 13.8 points a week is insane to me. I feel like they project him that every week and he's come nowhere near that.
Right.
It's just, but yeah, as you can see, here's his fantasy points so far: 4, 8, 9, 6. I mean, it's just been brutal from a Brandon Ayuk perspective this year. How I look at it is there's no one else for me to really pick up at this point. Although I'm going to make a move here now. I'm going to pick up a kicker. I'm going to pick up a kicker here on this show because I need to. I think I'm going to go Josh Riccardi. I kind of think I'm going to pick up Josh Riccardi here. I mean, unfortunately, this week. I don't even need to drop anyone. I'll just put Cameron Dick. I'll just do this for now. Perfect. Huge. Doves. And I'll just drop Cardi at the end of the week. But there's my kicker starting there. And so then if you look at my matchup coming up, this is my matchup this week. Why does it not show it in the way I wanted to show it? But yeah, so this is my team. And I'm actually okay with it right now at this point. I'm obviously playing against our friend Colin, whose team is pretty solid in terms of like who he has. So starting Jalen Tolbert at flex is kind of crazy, but
yeah,
I don't
Definitely, yeah. The Eagles are on bye, so obviously, and then Tony Pollard being on bye. Yeah,
and he has Lamar and Patrick Mahomes. That's kind of crazy.
But that was a weird thing. Well, I don't know if it was like an auto draft kind of mistake, but I hope it was, because if it's not, then that's a big. I'm surprised. I mean, maybe he's like waiting to like pounce if one of our quarterbacks or someone else's quarterbacks like gets like
at that point. Well, also to be fair, I don't have a backup QB. To be fair, I didn't draft a backup QB. I just said I'm gonna find one on waiver wire the week Josh Allen has his bye, which I forget which week that is. But that's how I wanted to do. That's how I wanted. Wait, where is it? What week is his bye? Week 12. I mean, I have 12 weeks to figure out what QB to pick in for Josh Allen. I think I'm fine. Anyway, that's that for that league. I'm gonna move over to the sleeper. Does it switch over? Can you no, we're share this tab instead. Okay. There we go. Okay, moving on to this league. We'll go back to week 4 matchup here. As you can see, I got blown out in a really brutal way. Not much you can do when you're facing this team. I mean, made down. Jordan Love and Kenneth Walker on his bench is crazy. His bench had about the exact same points as my starting lineup. Obviously Kyle Pitts, very disappointing. Roma Dunze, very disappointing. I picked up Wan'Dale Robinson off waivers past week, and I did not play him, but I had him for a bench spot. I'm considering playing him after what I watched this past week from him.
A lot of the Arthur Smith, I was kind of accused for a very long period of time as sort of being like an Arthur Smith apologist, because I didn't think he deserved like every single ounce of like the blame, like for for the lack of production or like whatever. I've never seen someone be this perpetually disappointing and highly drafted than Pitts, because like now it's a totally new offensive regime that's designed to scheme guys wide open, and he's the tight end 17 on the year, 18 on the year,
16
in full. So like I feel like Arthur Smith.
I do have a trade offer here. I'm not going to accept it because I've seen it before, but this is the current trade offer. I would get Tyreek Hill, Dallas Goedert, and J.K. Dobbins, and I send Saquon and Marvin Harrison. That is a no for me, but appreciate the offer. I personally think I'm saying the 2 best players in this deal over. I think Tyreek's been very disappointing this year, and with the QB situation in Jackson and Miami like what it is, I will not be accepting that trade. So, Sir Brentworth, I'm just going to start to decline this one. Bye. Anders, do you think I should start Wan'Dale Robinson this week over over any of these wide receivers? Or do you think this is a good 4 to go with?
No, I think that's fine. I can't identify a specific person. No.
The only other guy I'm confused on is Roma Dunze, because he had that major week 2 weeks ago.
The Seahawks injuries have been bad on defense, but it's all towards their front 4. Their secondary is still at full strength. So I wouldn't.
Well, he is a Bear, and he's playing the Panthers, not the Seahawks.
You're talking about Wan'Dale Robinson? I mean,
I'm talking about Wan'Dale Robinson.
I'm talking about Wan'Dale Robinson.
Okay, my bad. I thought you were talking about Roma Dunze.
No. Dunze's fine. I think you'll be fine there.
Okay, and I was looking here at other guys I could possibly pick up. Javonte Williams being on the waivers is kind of insane, actually.
Yeah, he was like his ADP, at least on ESPN, was like in the 80s.
Do you think I should pick him up for either of these, like Ty Chandler or Justice Hill at this point, or do you think I should pick him up as a backup?
Give it like a week, because I mean, if he's on the waivers now, he's probably not going to be getting picked up by like anyone if that's like the perception.
Because my RB2 is Alexander Madison. right now.
And that's fine. Like,
actually, it's James Cook, but I said Saquon on bye. But
right,
Madison's my RB3.
Madison's fine. Like he's been very underrated in the pass catching kind of funnel of fantasy, and I mean he's gotten the goal line work. Like he's gotten the rushing touchdowns. I think he has, I want to say 3 off the top of my head, and Zamir White has 0. So
fuck. I'm sorry. My bad. I just looked at my thing. I sent $56 on Justice Hill, and no one bid on him elsewhere. So that was kind of an L for me. Oh well. That's fun. And then this guy went 50 on. Yeah, like I said, no one was really bidding on these guys. But anyway, so continuing on, that is our fantasy updates. I'll let you know how this week goes. I'm facing a guy that has a team that's kind of iffy, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if I like this team too much. But yeah, no, we'll figure it out. But anyway, moving on to that, we'll stop sharing our fantasy screens here, and we'll move on to our a couple college football topics here. And this is the debate, Anders, that there is going to be, that has kind of been going on very, very recently this past week or so. And I got to watch one of these guys in person this past week as well. I will admit. So I'll just kind of show the show. So right now the question is who is the current Heisman favorite? Is it A, a wide receiver / cornerback from Colorado who is on a kind of on fire Colorado team right now? Or is it B, a group of 5 running back who is putting up numbers we have never seen before? And that's the most insane question I've ever seen in my life. Is it Travis Hunter or is it Ashton Jeanty? Like, usually, this has never happened. Like, we are never at a point where, like, Colorado versus Boise State is the Heisman conversation. Right. Like, usually it's an Alabama, it's a Carson Beck, it's a Jalen Milroe, it's a Cam Ward.
Right.
Like, that's the normal Heisman. But we're in a different level right now, Anders. We are talking about a wide receiver / corner, the Shohei Ohtani of football,
right?
Or a running back that's putting up, like I said, numbers we've never seen before. I think he has 860 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns in 4 games, or
he has 845 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns, 10.3 yards a carry.
Where I think we're 4 games into the season or 5 games into the season, or 4. I think they had a bye. 4 games into the season, and he's already doing that. So Anders, that's the question: is right now who is the current Heisman favorite? And who would you give your money to?
So I think it's GNT, and I actually don't think it's particularly close. I will open this by saying that, and I'm on record of this, obviously, through this show. Zach was on GNT, and I recognized it early too, but I was still adamant through the first 3 weeks. I was hammering on the 4. Like, me personally, I would still rather have Ollie Gordon. I still think that he's the more naturally gifted runner and naturally kind of more just talented physical specimen. I will now come out straight up and say I was dead wrong on that. I am fully Ashton Jeanty has now kind of superseded. I think it's him kind of just in a separate tier of running back. And then you have who's the 2-3? Is it Gordon? Is it Judkins? We can kind of debate that. That's kind of a separate discussion. But I think it's Jeanty. I think that because he is so I cannot recall a time in college football, and I'm even just I'm even going back to Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, where someone has been this level of a gap from first place to second place at a position. I can't think of it. Like I cannot I can't think.
I agree.
Zac showed me, sent me a picture, and this I think
I'll show it. I got
something that I didn't even think was possible. Like, because the thing is, like, Travis Hunter is not the best corner and is also probably not the best. He's not the best corner and is not the best receiver. I think the best corner is Will Johnson. And I think the best receiver is Tyrone McMillan. You know, you could say him or Burden, you know, whatever. I prefer McMillan, but I understand a lot of people say Burden. So this is unbelievable. This is one of the most insane graphics I have ever seen, where 3 touchdowns is even money, essentially. That's that is incomprehensible. And like, it's not just a bunch of volume stuff. Excuse me. Like he's getting 10.3 yards a carry behind an offensive line for Boise State that I think obviously has to be at least good, but doesn't have any like, you know, NFL caliber guys on it. This is unbelievable.
195 rushing yards is the over-under. And I'm always tempted to just say, I'll take over by a lot, please.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. What he is doing is absolutely historic, and it's on a level we've never seen before.
I think that the phrase video game numbers is used too often. Like, this is the realest example of it, because this graphic is it's comical. It looks made up. It literally looks made up. So I think it's Jeanty. I think it's because I don't even I get the fact that he Hunter gets a lot of leeway. First of all, we've seen people do both before, but I think he gets a lot of leeway. You know, gets a lot of kind of big, kind of, you know, face forward stuff because of the Colorado branding dynamics that have happened, and he's also not even. You know, I could probably name 3. I mean, I just gave off Will Johnson and Tyrone McMillan. I could probably get to 3 of each that are better. I mean, you know, that's obviously splitting hairs, which is a separate conversation. But the gap between Jeanty and like Gordon, Judkins, Hampton is like it's bigger than any gap I've ever seen for a position in the entirety of the 8 years I've been following college football. It's unbelievable.
No, 100%. And I want to show something here as well. I want to show something. I want to show this play. I just want to show this play. And everyone knows it.
Is this against broke? Yeah. Okay. No, this is
that one is there. Is this the one? Is this the one I think it is? I mean, just like it is crazy to watch this guy go. Let me see. I think it's got to be. It's not this. What's the run that I'm looking for?
I thought you were going to show the first one.
I think the first one's what I was saying. This one, this one right here. Like. How does we'll go to the first one because that first one has a better view of it. Like there you go. Okay, let's show it. Like I'm sorry. Like how does he stay up first of all? And then just how? Just physically how? Like and then here's more. Let's watch more. Ash. Like that. Like, can we just go back to that for a second? Can we see how high this guy? Like, dude, this guy's fully standing up.
I can take a picture of that.
This guy is fully standing up at this point in 1 second. Take a picture of this quick.
Wait, Zac, is the answer to this question for you also Jeanty? Just
by a lot. I hate that it's even a debate, but that is. I
don't think it's that close, actually.
No, like, oh my god! And then you just go, and then Let's see what the next play is like.
I don't even know. I don't even know what the comp is.
How does he not get tackled there, not get tackled there, not get tackled, and just gets basically tackled into the end zone? I just it's unreal. It is unreal. And I think this is his last touchdown run that he had, which is insane also. I mean, every single criteria you want in a runner: ability to break tackles, juke, hard runner, good on the outside, good on the inside. I mean, he has everything you want in a running back.
He would be a top 3 pick in the draft if he was 6'1" instead of 5'9".
Oh yeah, 100%.
He might be a top 10 pick.
I think he is climbing up the board way faster than we think he really is.
Right.
I would not be kidding with you when I say this. If Dallas struggles this year and continues to struggle this year and has an early top 15 pick, I would 100% see Dallas taking Jeanty 14 or 13.
Even including trading up.
I would 100% see Dallas doing something to get Jeanty.
Right.
And I could see that. I think he just seems like a Dallas running back too.
No, I mean
it's incredible to watch. Just the entirety of everything about the kid is just amazing. And he deserves every hype he's getting, and the fact that he's doing it at Boise State, which will get a lot of crap because he's not playing the best competition.
Right.
He did this against Oregon. They did play a game against Oregon, and he did do that.
It was against Oregon.
And he ran all over Oregon. He made Oregon look terrible, and that's a really good Oregon team.
Right.
And he just made them look like they were FBS school, a Group of 5 school.
Yeah.
No, it's just Jeanty's incredible. Just that. But Anders, I know you have a special thing you want to do here with this Heisman race.
I'm gonna do some prediction stuff. So I kind of wanted to do this. So this was I think Zach wanted to do the Travis Hunter Ashton Jeanty thing because I think he gave the descriptions of the players, the dual threat person from Colorado and the 5'9" running back from Boise State are the two kind of sort of trendy sort of Heisman guys right now. Which I think it's good for the sport, frankly.
Yeah.
And so this is who I think is going to be the Final Four for the Heisman, projecting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think so, and this is not predicting a winner, but I do. This is what I think is going to happen. So I think the first person will be Cam Ward. He looks like the most complete quarterback, if that makes sense.
I will say, by the way, this is off topic, but I will say this: Virginia Tech should have won that game.
That's true. I
want to say it. Virginia Tech should have won that game, and they got screwed over. That was a 100%. And I don't know if it was a catch, but it was 100%. You could not see it and say it wasn't a catch.
No.
I wasn't indisputable evidence to give Virginia Tech.
I am with you there. I'm 100% with you.
Okay, continue.
So Cam Ward, he looks the most kind of complete. Maybe not quite the dynamic sort of rusher that Milroe is, but I do think, I think it just kind of top to bottom. I think his weaknesses to me are the hardest to articulate, and I do think Miami is going to have good enough of a year where he'll be able to have the sort of kind of surrounding proxy stats to where you can kind of make a case for him. So I think he's the most complete. I think his stats will back it up. So I feel confident that he will second in QBR rating. In QB rating at 92.5. Second person is Jeanty. who will set multiple records, multiple Division I records, I think, by the end of the year. And I think it'll be a nice, I mean, I can't recall the last time we had a running back as a finalist. Was it Saquon? No, I forget who. I'd have to, you'd have to check.
Was it Derrick Henry? Was Derrick Henry the last one?
Well, Derrick Henry won it.
Well, Derrick Henry won it. I know that.
I'm not going to be a finalist. Derrick Henry
CMC was a finalist.
Yeah.
Saquon, I feel like Saquon.
Double check me on that.
Running back, Heisman
finalists.
Heisman finalists. Heisman Trophy winners and runner-up since 1935. We'll see that. I
know Henry was the last person.
Bryce Love was the last RB finalist.
Okay. Oh,
in Stanford.
That's
Bryce
right.
Love out of Stanford. Oh crap, that's really loud. Complete that's Heisman Trophy. Let's just look at that. Heisman Trophy finalists by year. Because that will help. Because that only showed me the top 3. And I think obviously there's 4 finalists. So let's figure that out. Let's see. Jalen Hurts, Ohio State, Chase Young. Okay. Mac Jones, Trask, Hutchinson. Yeah, no, there's no running backs there. Yeah, Bryce Love out of Stanford was the last RB. Unless you want to include Lamar Jackson as an RB finalist.
No.
Sorry, I had to say it.
Sure, no, it's low hanging fruit. I get it. So Jeanty will be a finalist. He's going to break multiple Division I records by the end of the year.
No, yeah.
Third person I think is going to be Jalen Milroe, because I think.
Okay.
Just because I think he's gonna.
I agree with you. These are all my 3 so far. You have my 3. You have 3 of my 4 so far.
So obviously, you're gonna get some SEC leeway. The deep ball stuff I think is gonna be really important to a lot of people. The rushing stuff is gonna be really important to a lot of people. And I also just think, he's going. I think he looks. He is. I don't think it's complete necessarily as Ward, but I think he's more versatile and can do more things really, really well. And I just think
I want to hear your 4th here, because I'm curious now. Now that you said your 3, I think there's so many guys you can put in for your 4th, and I'm curious to see who your 4th is going to be, because I have one.
So
I'm thinking could be.
Excuse me. So my 4th is Jeremiah Smith.
Okay, sorry. That was my 5th.
Okay.
That was my first guy out of the conversation.
It's because I think he's because they can't put Ryan Williams in and Milroe.
No, you can't. No, that's although didn't they do that with Fields and not Ferris and Marvin Harrison, Fields and what was the other? It was Chase Young. Sorry. That's defensive offense.
But that's a little different.
That's defense and offense. My bad.
But no, so he's gonna be. I think frankly he's better than Ryan Williams anyway. And
I would agree.
He's like the same. He's not gonna have like those like record breaking things, but like that like Jeanty is gonna have. But he will kind of reach that sort of kind of threshold of that receivers need to hit to kind of get into that conversation. I think Oregon's going to have too many weird games going through the year for Dylan Gabriel to get in it.
Is there going to be a defensive guy? Do you think there's a defensive guy that could like Pierce? Pierce.
If there is going to be one, it will be Pierce for sure. Because I think a lot of those Michigan guys are going to cancel each other out.
Yeah.
If I had to bet on there being a defensive guy, I would pick Pierce, but I don't think it's going to be him.
Yeah, that was the only other guy I could think of for defensive wise. Like outside of QB, that was the only guy I could think of.
So, but I think Jeremiah Smith will kind of cross that threshold needed for receivers to get in there. I do not. So I think Oregon's going to have too many weird games for Dylan Gabriel to get in there.
Yeah.
I think I love Jackson Dart, but that Kentucky loss I think is going to be too hard to overcome statistically.
Yeah.
And then Travis Hunter, quite frankly, I don't think that Colorado's going to have good enough of a record.
That's fair.
For him to get it. So I think realistically they have one more win left in them. I predict
none of those three guys you mentioned are my fourth. My fourth is actually Nico Iamaleava out of Tennessee QB.
Mm-hmm.
I think with how good he's looked so far for Tennessee, and then with him, I think if they continue that and they come out and they win one of those games versus like the big SEC school towards the end of the year when they face them, like if they win the Alabama game or if they win that, I think Nico Iamaleava is my pick for number 4 right now.
Right.
I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I could be saying his name completely wrong right now. I'm gonna be honest. I just said it as a guess.
I think you got it
right. But I like him a lot. I love that kid a lot, and I think he's really good. So I'm gonna say Nico Iamaleava. As my 4th for that. Although Jeremiah Smith was my 5th. Like I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
I was so in between those two guys for my 4th and 5th spots.
Right.
I like Ohio State more, I think, in terms of I think I could see why Giants have to get in, but Ohio State continues to run through the Big Ten because the Big Ten's kind of weak this year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If Ohio State, if they continue to run through the Big Ten, but I just think they're gonna have one game where Jeremiah Smith doesn't have a good game or he has a rough game, and that's gonna be hard to get past that.
Right.
Yeah, or a game where a Mika Igbokwe takes over and just does the same things, and Jeremiah doesn't. That's that. But no, I like Iamaleava a lot. Or Iamaleava, I don't know how to pronounce it.
No, sure. But I like him more than Gabriel or Dart for sure.
What about Carson Beck? Is he ever? Do you think he's gonna? You don't think he'll get in?
No, I don't think. No, I don't think I don't think. No, the Georgia defense looked really vulnerable. It depends because they have some injuries. Mikael Williams is banged up. They have a couple people.
But that game wasn't on Carson Beck. Carson Beck.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I think they'll lose another game though.
Okay.
And he's not going to be put. I don't know what. I have no idea what Boise State's record is going to be. No idea. But I know what Jeanty's going to put on
Jeanty's going to make it impossible if you leave him out of the Heisman top 2, maybe top 3.
I don't think can do that from the quarterback position, even in the best case scenario.
No, Jeanty's going to put up numbers that you're you can't deny.
Right.
And we've seen that before too. I don't know if in the Heisman race, but we've seen that in other sports where a guy isn't on a good team, but he's putting up numbers that you physically can't take him out of it. Heck, Shohei Ohtani and the Angels. Right. What Ohtani did on the Angels was so special and was so awesome that even though the Angels were one of the worst teams in baseball every single year, you had to keep him in the MVP conversation because he was so incredible.
Jeanty not making the top 4 for Heisman would be, I think, one of the most blatant kind of demonstrations of college football elitism that I could ever think of.
Yeah, no. Jeanty should be in the top 4, and heck, Jeanty, if he puts up the numbers that he looks like he's putting up, should win. There isn't a question on that.
He would be my pick to win today. I think he would. I think eventually, if I had to pick someone who I think will eventually win, I would probably pick Cam Ward. But if it's not him, I think it's going to be Jeanty.
I can also see them just giving it to Milrow because it's elitism. But I don't know. But
we'll see.
Okay, we got some NFL stuff we want to talk about here, Anders.
Yep.
Let's start with a big game tonight. Kind of our first good Thursday night game of the year that I'm kind of excited to watch.
Yeah.
You have Bucks Falcons here, Anders.
Yep.
An individual game between two teams that are the Bucks are one of the best teams in football. The Falcons can be, but they've kind of gotten in their own way here to start the year. And I Bleav the Falcons were both of our playoff NFC South champions, correct?
Yep.
What are your thoughts on which team do you think, I'm going to just go here, which team do you think benefits more from a win here, Anders?
So I think, probably I would say Tampa, because I think they will. I think the Falcons have this sort of cushion of I think that Cousins has looked a little better each game. Not necessarily numbers wise, although there is some correlation with that, but just like eye test wise in terms of his level of comfort, especially moving outside of the pocket, which he doesn't really do anyway. But when he does do it, he does look more comfortable than he did in week 1, a little bit each time. And so I think that that progression will continue, and I think they'll be fine because of it. And I do think the offensive line will kind of just keep that in check. Versus for Tampa, the back seven is so ridiculously banged up. And there's a lot of guys in there that we don't really know. I don't know how long Kalijah Cansey is going to be out for. Obviously, Winfield's done for a really long time. They have I think 6 of their starting back 7 is out. Cansey's on the back 7, but he's a notable injury anyway. And so they kind of, maybe they can't score 30-something points every week. And maybe Baker doesn't throw 300 yards every single game, but which I think he probably can, but we don't know that. But I think because of those defensive injuries, and we don't know how much longer that Bucs defense can fully keep it together, because you did have that undressing against Denver that was a little bit concerning. But to me, getting to a 4-1 cushion gives you a little bit of breathing room to allow those guys to get healthy. It's instead of being okay, it's week 8 where, or let's say, it's week 9, we're 4-5. And these guys, they're 80%, so we should probably push them. I think getting to 4-1 gives those times rest. So, and I also just think that it legitimizes Baker a little bit more. I think he has more to gain from this for sure as well.
I'm going to say the Falcons here, personally. I think they need a win, first of all, just personally standings-wise, to keep pace with this. A win for them helps them a lot more than a win for the Bucs does.
I thought they got outplayed by the Saints. I don't think they should have won that game.
Yeah, no. But the Falcons need a good win to kind of cement them back into that conversation of being a good team. And I think Kirk Cousins needs a win to get them back into that. And I think just personally, I think for me, I always say a win benefits the team that has less losses, unless it's so bad that the season's over. But
right.
In this situation, it's not. So I think a win benefits the Falcons here a lot. And even though the Bucs it would really cement the Bucs as probably a top 7 team in the NFL right now. I would say the Falcons are probably it'd be a big win for the Falcons if they can upset the Bucs here. And that's my pick. I think the Falcons. I think it benefits the Falcons a lot more.
Yeah.
Personally, I think we know what the Bucs are. We know how the Bucs play, and so I think a win there wouldn't really. I don't think it moves them up much higher in the rankings,
right,
than what it is right now.
All 3 Bucs wins have looked the same, so we kind of know what they are when they're hot.
Now we go to the most important game in this podcast's history. Anders, can you remind everyone what your favorite NFL team is?
The Jets.
The Jets, okay.
And what's yours, Zach?
Mine are the Minnesota Vikings. I feel like I made that very clear earlier in the podcast. And I wonder, isn't it weird that I think they're playing this week, Anders? That is right. It is the Nerds Room Sports Bowl happening overseas in London this week. We have Jets versus Vikings. And what could be an incredible matchup with a ton of storylines in this matchup in general. You have Sam Darnold facing his former team that really failed him as an organization. You have Aaron Rodgers facing his former rival and a team that he's faced more times than not.
Right.
And you have just an incredible game in terms of like Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores facing, a pretty rough coaching staff over there in New York right now. Robert Saul is getting a lot of heat on the opposite side of that ball. And you're having a Jets team coming off probably as bad a loss as you can possibly have versus a Vikings team coming off as good a win as you can probably have. So a lot of things shake in the Vikings' favor, but it still is a good game. But, Anders, the main question I want to ask about this game, and it's not about the actual game, it's about a certain person in this game that I've already mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Is Sam Darnold the current MVP frontrunner?
So this is a very big spot for me and Zach. So I think he is. I think it's, I think everything he's doing looks sustainable. Like there is nothing like, you're not getting a bunch of crazy yard after catch stuff. I mean, you are sometimes, but like a lot of that is like, he's making like really good throws into like corner spots with like two guys covering someone. Maybe not making as most of his legs as he did. Like, there was that 3-game stretch in Carolina where he used his legs in a way that was like, oh my God, like this, he's, really like downhill, like big throw, maybe not to that extent, but like from a throwing perspective, like everything looks on time. And like, he still is a little, like shaky sometimes, but but it's not to the point of recklessness. And that was the big issue with the Jets. And so, no, I think 100%. I know you do. So what I will say is I'm going to propose this bet. The winner, if the Jets win this game, you have to come on next episode with a Jets hat on.
I don't have a Jets hat.
It's fine. We're going to do Amazon next day shipping. We're going to figure it out.
Okay.
And if the Vikings win, then I have to come on in a Vikings hat next episode.
Okay. That's a deal. Deal.
Great. Because this is the only opportunity we're going to have to do this.
For 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Literally. So we got to make the most of it now.
No, we'll make it work. I like it. I will figure out how to get Jets hat.
It wouldn't be the Nerds Ruin Sports Bowl if there wasn't something tangible at stake.
I will figure out a way to get a Jets hat to me, and I'll let you figure out how to get a Vikings hat to you. It's probably pretty easy for you because you're in New York City. Yeah. But no. So I'm excited about this game. Let's actually just talk about this game a little bit. Let's talk about this game a little bit. Besides the Sam Darnold current MVP frontrunner, let's talk about this game a bit.
Yep.
Anders, what happened last week that the Jets need to fix going into this week?
I think a lot. I think this was. I think the creativity of the play calling has been sort of the kind of Achilles heel the entire season. It's gotten a little better each game. Then I think it took a downturn in the game against Denver. Now a lot of that is the conditions, but I think it's hard because Garrett Wilson has yet to crack 60 yards. And I think I think by this point, that connection should be further along than where it is. And so that I think that connection specifically is because we know Lazard's going to get his targets. And we know that Mike Williams is going to get a 1 or 2 big time, 1v1, shots. But I want to see that kind of connection with Wilson. I thought that was missing. We haven't really seen it in any game, but I thought it particularly missed last week. And obviously, Brees, I think, was the biggest offensive culprit in terms of lack of production.
Yeah.
But so that's another big part of it. And that's going to be and against the Brian Flores blitz, that's going to be really difficult. And so
the run game, you could basically take your run game out of the window,
right?
Going against Brian Flores, like he's going to stop your run game, and he's going to say you could throw against us, but you're not going to get giant chunk plays against us,
right? And so that's I think the Wilson connection is especially important because so that way they have 3 real threats, like wide receiver threats that they can run an empty formation in, and get stuff out quickly. Because
I will say Aaron Rodgers is one of the best at countering the blitzes I've ever seen. And I've watched a lot of Aaron Rodgers. Like he has always done a good job of like if the Vikings are going to blitz, he's always done a really good job of stopping that. But there was a lot of issues in your O-line last week, and Aaron Rodgers got hit a lot last week. And it's not going to get any easier this week. You're facing a team that blitzes more than any team in the NFL by a lot. And you're facing a team that's going to basically be pressuring Aaron Rodgers all day. So I think your O-line needs to kind of step up.
Yeah, the tackle play I thought was, I think, by and large, it's actually, I expected it to be sort of this like methodical like process of like it gets a little better because like Joe Tippmann had like the snap continuity issues in training camp, and actually funny enough, I actually thought that the week that the best the O-line looked by and large was actually week 1, funny enough. And so last week was, I think, the hard part. Obviously, Fashanu got kind of thrown in. So I think that'll merge, obviously, but this is going to be a really tough test because you're probably going to get a lot of one-on-one stuff because of he's going to bring 5 or 6. So.
And just the Vikings defense in general has been a masterclass. I mean, that first half versus the Packers was absolutely just magnificent in terms defensively. Some of the plays they're running, some of the schemes they're running in terms of like that Kamu Griesier-Hill interception last week was a masterclass. I don't know if you've seen that clip. Have you seen the Kamu Griesier-Hill clip?
Yeah, I think I have. I know he got a pick.
He got a pick, and it was a really beautiful one where he kind of avoided the fake out of the fade receiver, or not the fade receiver. What's the route where you're just like going middle? It's like a middle fade, like you're in but down the middle of the field. Oh
no, I think that's just a fade. I'm pretty sure.
I forget, but anyway, I forget the name. I'm laying it on the head, but. He did not fall for that fake, and instead knew this guy would be coming on a deep in route and broke it perfectly. So no, it's just beautiful what they're doing. But I will say the Vikings got their first like real wake up call of the season in that second half versus Green Bay. We took the foot off our gas. We made a few big mistakes that really cost us. But in my opinion, it's really great to have a wake-up call and have a really bad game or a bad half and still win the football game. Like, there's no better time to have a wake-up call and still win the football game. I mean, that's exactly how you want to go. It's like, okay, that means we're not coming into this game too confident, too excited, too over the top. We're like, oh, we have a bunch of things we need to fix because we had a bad second half. So that could really help the Vikings. I'm really excited about that. But
I think that second half kind of push was a little more indicative of Green Bay and kind of telling of Green Bay than it was on Minnesota because like Jordan Love's 0-2, but the offense in both the games that he's played, even though they've lost both games, has looked great, and then it just comes down to a couple situational things down the end, which obviously, like with Matt,
and the Vikings had 2 turnovers. Like the Vikings, Green Bay had plenty of chances to take a lead in that game late, and the Vikings had 2 crucial turnovers on back-to-back drives that stopped them from doing that and gave us the win because we were able to kick a field goal and take the 9-point lead. So I love it. It was great. It was a fun time. I'm excited for this game. I really am. Like I'm in London. It's 6:30 a.m. my time.
Yeah.
So I will be awake for it, obviously. I'm not going to not be awake for it. So I will be awake. It'll be 6:30 a.m. my time, but I will be there. And I've done it before.
You get your coffee next to you on your nightstand, like right next to you. So you just
I don't drink coffee. So I don't drink coffee.
You got to figure out something.
I'll be fine. I got it. I'll just go to bed earlier.
You'll figure it out.
I will say the last time the Vikings played in London, I was in Vegas and it was 6:30 a.m. and I was up and I was there and I was at the casino bar at 6:30 in the morning.
6:30.
At 6 o'clock a.m.
6:30 a.m. in Vegas. 6:30 a.m. is harder to do in Vegas than it is anywhere else.
So. No, I definitely agree. I was in bed by 2 a.m. the night before. So it's great. But anyway, moving on to our third game here. We'll get off the Jets Vikings, although we love both those teams. They are our teams. We're excited. Moving on, Ravens Bengals. This is an interesting one because to me, very simply, the Bengals should be 0-4. I don't think they were the better team in their game that they won in the game that they won last week. And if they would have dropped 0-4, this would be a very different discussion. The Bengals have looked, quite frankly, terrible this entire season. They have not looked great. And the Ravens have looked absolutely fantastic. And so with that, I'll let Andrew talk about what he wants to talk about with this game. But I personally am just like, this game to me doesn't seem that close.
So I don't think the Ravens have looked great. They had that awful situational blown lead against the Raiders, and they almost let Dallas come back within a field goal.
And they absolutely destroyed probably at that point, the best team in football. Like I would say the Vikings, but like the Bills were considered by everyone to be the best team in football.
So that was great. So that win against Buffalo was the best win that either of the two teams have had. But like the idea, I don't understand. I feel like these teams are sort of discussed as if there's like a leap and bound, beyond them in terms of like how they're separated. But like realistically, like if you think about it, the Cincinnati offense has been great all four, not all 4 games. These last 3 games, 3 of the 4 games, not the first one, they've been great, I think. And I expect them to be great again. And against a defense for Baltimore that I still think under Zach Orr is kind of figuring it out. I don't know if it's a great defense. And the thing is like narrative wise, like we view them as being so different right now. If the Bengals win this game, both of those teams are going to have the same record at 2-3, and Cincinnati is going to have the tiebreaker. So, like, it's not this like leap and bound. I think Cincinnati will win because right now to this point, I don't trust the Baltimore defense now that everyone's healthy and like Chase is all integrated in and Higgins is all integrated in. I don't trust the Baltimore defense to kind of keep that all together. So I think that the Bengals are going to win a really high scoring game. But I agree. But obviously the Buffalo win for the Ravens is arguably one of the better wins, if not the best win of any by a team this season. So
yeah. I'm nervous. I'm nervous of the Bengals a lot. I love the Bengals. I love Joe Burrow, but I'm nervous about them right now, where if they lose this game, 1-4 is very hard to come back from.
Right.
1-4 is almost impossible to come back from.
Right.
So we'll see. But yeah. Now we go to what could be a really fun game.
Yeah.
Browns Commanders. And Anders, let's talk about Jaden Daniels for a second.
Yeah.
The NFC Rookie of the Month.
Yep.
One of the best rookie starts we've ever seen from a QB specifically.
Yeah.
Like even Justin Herbert in his Rookie of the Year campaign, where he had an historic start to his career, never looked this good to start his. Didn't look this good to start his year. And he's doing it against a bunch of other QBs that aren't really playing that well. Like Williams had an okay game like the last couple of weeks. Bo Nix had an okay game the last couple of weeks and stuff, but none of them are doing what Jaden Daniels is doing right now. Would you say it's him or Neighbors for Rookie of the Year right now?
Daniels, just because of the record. And also like the completion, I almost kind of have the same kind of attitude towards Daniels' completion percentage where I do with like Sam Darnold on the Vikings, just kind of in general, where I'm sitting there in my seat and I'm waiting for the bubble to burst. And then I wait again and I wait again and it just doesn't. So like maybe he is just kind of naturally effortlessly accurate. There are a lot of people where that just kind of is the case. But I
mean, what we're seeing is incredible. Like we are legit in the midst of.
I put this game on the list and I want your take on this. Like this is going, there are certain games where I think where the quarterback disparity is just really kind of put on, like it's just kind of opened up like completely, like in terms of just how magnified it is. And I think that this is going to be one of those examples where Deshaun Watson is going to be next to Jaden Daniels and it's going to be like, oh my God, like, you know, like you see these guys on we understand Jaden's kind of, you know, we understand what he's doing now and how great it is. And we understand that Deshaun has been incredibly disappointing. I think you have these weeks where you take two of those rhetorics and you place them on the same field and it's real and it becomes even extra eye-opening. So I think that this is kind of one of those examples. I think the Commanders win this game like 35-14 or something.
Yeah, no. I kind of agree with you on that. I think Commanders do win this game. I think what they're showing right now is awesome to watch. First of all, I just love it. I think they're like, well, the rest of the NFC East is falling apart. They're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. And I love it. And I said this before the season. I think I was one of the guys that was like very high on the Commanders to start this season. Because I was not high on the Cowboys or the Eagles. And I was really high on the Commanders.
Right.
And so I'm loving this. I'm loving Jaden Daniels. I'm loving the fact that this is a lot of people are saying this kind of turning into a CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, not like that expansive. The fact that like CJ Stroud, the second overall pick, is a lot better than the first overall pick,
right.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Is that just what we've seen lately? Do you think that's going to be how it actually ends up, or do you think that's going to be kind of what the kind of conversation is going to be for a while?
So the Bears have the Panthers this week, and you know, like I thought Caleb's best game was probably game 3 where he had all those yards. Because I do think that the run game and kind of the breakout of DeAndre Swift for the season was like the biggest turner for the Bears. And I also think that Stafford had, I think, a worse performance in that game than people sort of realized. But if I had to pick one to go with, I would still go with Caleb. Okay. But I think the Bears are going to beat the Panthers, right? And I think that I forget what week they face each other. I forget if it's week 6 or week 7, but they should have the same record by that point. And I think that will be, it's a 1:00 game. I would flex that
they should flex that. They should get that thing in prime time as fast as possible.
I would make that Sunday Night Football. I think that would be an excellent stage for those two.
I agree. No, I'm excited about this game though. Like this game is going to be very exciting. I'm excited to see Jaden Daniels play.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see Jaden Daniels play every week. What he's doing so far is absolutely incredible. Yeah. But then moving on to probably the best matchup of the year, of like the week, in my opinion, probably. Yep. And especially QB matchups. This is probably one of the best. Bills Texans.
Yep.
I mean, what more can you say about Josh Allen? And what more can you say? Obviously, he had a bad week last week, but what more can you say about Josh Allen? What more can you say about CJ Stroud? Although I will say there is a little of a sophomore slump, in my opinion, on CJ Stroud right now. He's not playing at as high. I feel like he's played at a lot higher level last year than he has this year. And the Texans look beatable. Obviously, as a Vikings fan, I can confirm they are beatable. But the Texans have not been playing that great. There is something a little off with them. And the Bills obviously just got blown out by the Ravens. So these are two teams that are both something's a little off. Your thoughts on this matchup, Anders? What do you want to talk? What do you want to discuss in this matchup?
Well, this is you pointed out the quarterback matchup. I mean, the kind of fun narrative is obviously like the Stephon Diggs component of it.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about the Stephon Diggs comparison. I didn't think about that component.
But the Texans defense has been fine, not great. Obviously against Minnesota they were dreadful, but again, like a lot of defenses have looked dreadful against Minnesota.
Agreed to that.
I think that the Bills, like I think you saw like Gregory Rousseau is out for the year. That's a very underratedly big loss down the stretch. Gregory Rousseau, I think, is one of the more statistically underappreciated defensive ends that we have in football. But no, the quarterback play here is the big thing for me. I am very curious to see like Stroud and Collins. I think the Stroud and Collins connection, I think we all sort of saw it would take another step. I actually think despite the weird play that they've had, that connection specifically is actually ahead of schedule. And so I am sort of interested to see what sort of like one-on-one matchups, because Tank Dell has been sort of benign to this point, right? I'm very curious to see what Stroud. I think it's going to be Stroud's best game from a yardage standpoint, because I think one-on-one, the defensive backs for Buffalo are not stellar, and so I don't know who's going to win, but I do think that this is sort of a Stroud kind of reminder of who he is.
Yeah. And then with that, I'm going to agree with you on that, obviously. But I'm actually going to get rid of the Cardinals-Niners game here. I'm actually going to delete it because I want to save some time. There's something I want to talk about. But with that, Anders, let's move into our NFL predictions.
Yes.
Unless there's something else. I remember you said before you wanted to put me on the spot with something, but I forget what that was.
No. My thing that was on the spot was the hat thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what that was. Okay, yeah. So let's make our predictions here quick, and then I have one last thing I want to talk about before we end the show.
Okay.
And Anders does not know what to talk about because I just thought of it, and I really feel like we should talk about it on the show before I do it. So, starting off, Anders.
Yep.
Quickly, Buccaneers, Falcons. Who's your pick?
Bucks.
I'm gonna also take the Bucks. Actually, no. Give me the Falcons.
All right.
I'm taking the Falcons to do it. Jets, Vikings. I'm taking Vikings.
I'm taking the Jets.
Of course you are.
Otherwise, I would already just go to Amazon and order the hat right now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Panthers at Bears. I'll take the Bears.
I am going to also take the Bears.
Ravens, Bengals.
Bengals.
Okay. Ravens. Dolphins, Patriots. I'm gonna take the Patriots.
I'm also going to take the Patriots.
That's that bad? The Dolphins are
no,
bad?
It's not. No, they're no. The Tua money looks more and more justified the longer they just keep playing games.
And as much as I don't like Tua, I actually agree with you. Like, what is happening? And what is happening? I mean, Miami is crazy. Browns, Commanders. I said this time I'm taking Commanders by a lot. Colts, Jags. With Joe Flacco as a QB, possibly.
I'm actually gonna take the Jags here. I actually thought that last week they outplayed Houston.
That's what I said. I think I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Jags, especially if Jonathan Taylor doesn't play.
Yeah, without JT, I'm gonna take Jags as well. With JT, I might go with Colts. But I'm gonna take Jags. Bills, Texans. I'm gonna take the
Texans.
I'm gonna take the Bills.
Okay.
I don't think they lose 2 in a row.
That's probably my least confident pick to this point. Yeah, I'll take Texans.
Raiders, Broncos.
I'll take the Raiders.
I'll take the Broncos.
I don't think that the offensive line, the pass rush for Las Vegas looks better. Like it looked like, I think the Christian Wilkins addition has aged really.
I'm taking Broncos. I just have to take. I think their defense can just. I think their defense is too good.
No, that's fair.
Cardinals, Niners. Give me the Niners. Oh, are you not? Oh, what are you?
No, I'm thinking.
That's a little more hesitation than I thought you were gonna give me.
I'll take it. It sucks. I'm gonna take the Niners, but I'm gonna hate it because I kind of because the offense for Arizona is so good.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Packers, Rams. Give me the Packers.
I'm also going to take the Packers.
I think the Packers second half kind of proved to me that Jordan Love is okay, and I think they're good.
I think the whole Eagles game and the second half of the second half of the game against the Vikings is more indicative of who they are. I think that first half, Jordan Love getting the rust off against Brian Flores and then kind of clicking it. I think they'll win.
Giants at Seahawks is a pretty easy Seattle for me. Yeah.
Oh, did we lose Zach? Oh, I think we're having some technical difficulties with Zach. That's not good. What's the next game on here? I'll audible. Next game is obviously Cowboys and Steelers. I'm gonna take. This is really difficult because I do kind of think that the Steelers offense it sucks, and this because I thought Justin Fields has had his best game as a pro. Oh, we lost Zach there. We lost. Hold on. Okay, we're soloing it, guys. Here, I gotta take off this thing. Week 5 predictions. There we go. To kind of close it off, I think the Cowboys are gonna take care of business. I think we've seen examples of the Cowboys winning games, essentially Dak and CD by themselves. That it's not like I don't think it's a 100% sustainable and winning formula, but we've seen them do it before, and I'm taking it hesitantly. I think the Cowboys defense, it's to this point, it has not been great. Although against the Giants, it was exceptional. I think it'll be good enough to where I think if you take the same sort of formula, Justin Fields kind of really only being able to produce consistently one offensive touchdown in a game. I think that the Dak and CD connection, and I think Ferguson will be more involved too. Now, obviously the question there as we
there we go. Sorry.
Back to the stage.
Okay, sorry. Where were we?
We're on Cowboys Steelers, and I was just saying how we've.
Did you get me picking the Seahawks? Did you get me picking the Seahawks?
I think I did. Yeah.
Okay, Seahawks. Okay. What were you saying about Cowboys Steelers?
I was thinking about Cowboys Steelers. How we've seen instances where Dak and CeeDee Lamb have kind of won games essentially by themselves, which they're going to have to do obviously without Brandon Cooks. And I don't think Jalen Tolbert or Jalen Brooks are going to be, sufficient enough in terms of other receiving options. But I think they can do it. I think the Cowboys defense the first 3 weeks was bad, and then I thought they were collectively they were exceptional.
Who'd you take in that game?
The Cowboys.
Okay.
I think they're going to win I think they're going to win like 21-17. It's going to look very strikingly similar to the game against the Giants, I think.
I'm going to take the Steelers. I'm doing it. I'm taking the Steelers. I think the Cowboys continue to lose.
No, I'm not. I was going to say, look out for TJ Watt against Tyler Guyton, the rookie offensive tackle. That's going to be a really interesting thing to see.
And then Saints at Chiefs on Monday night.
Yep.
A part of me really wants to go for the upset here and take the Saints.
The whole of me is taking the Saints.
Oh, okay. I don't feel as bad saying I want the Saints then. I'm going to take Saints.
Yeah, no.
I think
Mahomes,
the injuries to me are eventually going to become too much to overcome. And I think the Rashi Rice thing is major.
The lack of production from Mahomes is I think not repeatable in like in terms of how it's producing wins, because they don't need him to play great to this point, because he's had one pick a game where it's like, what? Like it's not like a Kadarius Kadarius Toney
Doney.
Yeah.
No.
It's not a Kadarius Toney kind of volleyball thing.
No.
They're like real like head scratching decisions. Where who is that supposed to go to? So I think the Saints offense is kind of collectively. I do think it'll come back, and I do think like Pacheco full game and like what do you call it? Rashee Rice full game, just like out. Like in the entirety, I think
Rashee Rice got placed on IR. He officially got placed on the IR.
Who did?
Rashee Rice.
I saw that. How many? What's the?
It's 4 weeks is what the IR says, but they don't actually say is what IR is. But I don't know how much. I don't know how long he'll be out.
To me, that's like, sorry for the sidebar. To me, that's indicative that he's probably not going to miss the whole year, because I feel like if his ACL was like totally broken, not like broken, if it was completely torn or completely detached, you could get that information essentially instantaneously. So the fact that they haven't said that right away shows me that he probably.
Yeah, they say one guy here says, the doctor says, Rice likely avoid an ACL tear, but if it is still a bone bruise or a PCL sprain, it could still be a 4+ week injury,
right?
Which is probably what it is.
I think he'll be healthy for the playoffs. I think.
Yeah, he should be.
But I don't. It depends on obviously how the Chiefs perform. But I think for these first 2 weeks, it'll be more difficult than is it really, because Carson Steele to me does not look very efficient. So yeah.
No, I agree. But anyway, so that's that. That was our predictions for the week. However, Anders, I have one last topic I want to bring up here on this podcast. One that is not any sport that we have discussed in a while, but a major NBA trade just happened.
Yes, it did.
And one that is very near and dear to both of our hearts.
Yep.
And we did not talk about it. In fact, we didn't put it on the schedule. And I'm like, no, we have to talk about it.
Yeah, we gotta talk about it. You got a banner?
I do not have a banner. I can create a quick banner.
You make the banner.
Knicks trade for Karl Anthony Towns. Near and dear to my heart. As a Minnesota fan and a Villanova fan, it hurts. Obviously, Cat has meant so much to the city of Minneapolis. He's meant so much to Minnesota. He's meant so much to the Timberwolves organization. And Dante obviously means a lot to us as Nova fans.
Yep.
Although there are reports saying he was not as invested in the Nova Knicks thing as people thought. What reports those could be, whatever. Anyway, we're getting Dante to Minneapolis, which I'm very excited to have a Nova player on my Timberwolves.
And I'm
very excited about that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, it was a 2028 first round pick that's top 10 protected.
Let me look it up. I need to look it up. Full Cat trade.
And I know that there was a third party Hornets part of it. That doesn't really matter much.
It was okay, so here's what it is. So full Knicks trade details revealed. Nanaji. Let's see, 1 second. It's 3 days have passed since New York Knicks fans were shocked by Julian Vandal are in New York. A Knicks Timberwolves trade wouldn't go through with because of collective bargaining agreements. So 13 was zipped in. The hold up in the trade becoming official because of the Hornets have received. On Tuesday evening, Shams reported Charlotte was receiving 3 second-round picks: Daquan Jeffries, Charlie Brown, and Dwayne Washington Jr. The next signed and trade: Jeffries, Brown, and Washington Jr. New York also received the draft rights to James Nanaji from Charlotte in the deal. Fred, and then I did not see what
the draft compensation is.
What the Timberwolves get for that as well. Okay, let me look here. Okay, here it is. Yeah. Knicks received Karl-Anthony Towns with the draft rights to James Nnaji. Timberwolves received Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, Keita Bates-Diop, and a future first-round pick. It does not say what pick it is.
Okay.
And the Hornets received Charlie Brown, Daquan Jeffries, Dwayne Washington Jr., 2 future seconds, a 2025 second-round pick via the Timberwolves, and cash considerations. So kind of a major deal. But the main key to that is there's a lot of things in that, but the main key is it's cap for Dante and Julius Randle.
Right.
That's the main part of the trade.
Immediate reactions on both sides and why I think it works for both teams. So on the Knicks side, so obviously I'm a Knicks fan and Zach is a Timberwolves fan. So I'm not sure if I'm speaking for Zach here, but on the end of the Knicks, so so first of all, it's weird because it's a big blockbuster trade that at the same time the Knicks kind of had to make because if we did not make this trade, we would not have a center. Precious Achiuwa would be our starting center at 6'8". That's too small of a lineup. And so we need someone to kind of hold in that ground because Ariel Hukporti, or Jericho Sims, I like both of them. I actually really like Jericho Sims. I think that he gets overhated sometimes, but they're not sustainable as starting centers. And Achiuwa is better than both of them anyway, but he's 6'8", so you can't do that. So position-wise, this was a big necessity. But you add even more really interesting. First of all, Cat has been coached by Tibbs anyway. So culturally, it will kind of integrate itself pretty quickly. But you add even more floor spacing to go alongside Jalen Brunson, who likes a lot of that kind of one-on-one in the paint stuff. So you make that even easier for him by adding Mikal and Cat. So that will take care of a lot of stuff because Randall will just kind of log jam the center of the court or the center of the paint. And that was really difficult. So you have floor spacing, you fill a position of need, and you get someone who's familiar with the coach. Check, check, check. I think it's great. I think the team's better. On the Timberwolves side, so for Randall, to me, and I liked the Gobert trade when it happened, and we've talked about this on this show before, because I think that it allowed Cat to play his natural position in the modern NBA, which is a stretch four. I think Randall, however, is more position-wise a natural fit alongside Gobert than Cat was. And so I think it just kind of evens out more. And I think schematically it'll make things a lot simpler. And then
explain that a little bit more to me.
Well, so
I don't know plays. I don't know a lot about basketball in general. So I do need you. Explain that.
Well, Cat and Gobert are the same height basically. And so you're kind of running a 2-center lineup really. And sometimes that can make things a little bit difficult. Cat can shoot threes, but you have to run specific kinds of things to make that happen. Whereas I think Randall, just kind of fits more naturally. His skill set kind of fits more naturally for the two.
What is his skill set? I don't know much about Julius Randle. Sorry.
He's a decent passer for his size. His mechanics are a little weird, but one-on-one, he does have some, a decent bag of moves, I think. Obviously, it is big in terms of his muscle, so he has some really good driving ability. So there's a lot of good stuff there. And then from the perspective of Dante, the Timberwolves didn't really have any three-point shooters coming off the bench, really at all. So they kind of now add that piece to where you can have kind of a sort of more catch and shoot threat that's not in the starting lineup. Because obviously Conley, his kind of facilitative ability and experience, especially alongside Ant, is too valuable to retract from the starting lineup. And so Dante can step in off the bench, shoot threes, make threes, and I think it'll be a really nice kind of score in spurts addition to the team.
Sounds good. Yeah, no, I am just happy with it because I think obviously we go to Cat's major contract, and I love Cat to death, don't get me wrong, but his contract is massive. Right. I am a little worried though about Julius Randle's playoff production in the playoff side of it.
Yep.
And also just his injury history scares me a little bit in the terms of like if he gets hurt, it's not really great. But also Cat was not that much of a healthy guy either. So that I do love the Dante piece. Like I love the fact that we're adding a catch and shoot shooter off the bench. His ability to shoot threes from basically anywhere on the floor is awesome. I love it. Yep. Him and Jaden McDaniels make a really good 3-point shooting duo there. And then I'm excited to see what this Timberwolves team can do now. And I feel bad because I know Ant was really close with Cat and stuff. Yeah. And I know Cat was beloved by everyone in Minnesota. So it does hurt to see him go. But this was the right move to make. And I just like the fact that we got Dante. And I like the fact that we got Dante alongside Julius Randle, and it wasn't just like a Julius Randle for Cat trade, because that would have made a ton of sense.
Right.
So no, I'm excited. I'm happy with it. I'm glad this happened. Obviously, I'm sad we aren't going to get to see the full Nova Knicks, which would have been really fun.
Right.
But this is still a really cool year, and there's still going to be the Nova Knicks because there's still 3 of them.
Right.
So,
yeah. But it won't be like the comical, like really all 4 of them. Are you serious? Like kind of thing.
Yeah. No. Right. That's fair. But it's
which
like what it was last year.
Too. I was kind of selfishly, looking forward
to
that.
100%. I was selfishly looking forward to that. Like I wanted that.
Yeah.
I wanted to see like a Bridges to Brunson to Josh Hart to Dante for the 3 passing play and just been awesome. Like it would have been absolutely incredible. But no, I love it. I'm excited for the season. I'm excited for basketball season to start, but this has been fun. I will be doing the sign off now here. That was that for our podcast. I wanted to bring in the Cat trade. I realized we didn't talk about that, and it was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
For both of us and for this podcast as well. But with that being said, this has been season 2, episode 4 of the Nerds Ruined Sports podcast. You can watch us on YouTube, and you can also tune into our other podcasts, our baseball only podcast called Bleav in Twins. Also, you can find that on YouTube, but you can also find that on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever else you find your podcasts. Tune into that. We post 2 to 3 episodes a week. 2 episodes a week, really. And so we're excited to keep bringing you content on the baseball side over there, because we aren't doing too much baseball on this podcast here.
Right. During the offseason.
Yeah. But so we're really excited to be here and excited to have you guys with you. And I'm obviously excited to have Anders Pryor next to me every single day. He's my best friend, and I love having him around. So
nothing like that.
But no, this has been season 2, episode 4 of the Nerds in Sports podcast. Thank you all for listening. Please like, please subscribe, turn on post notifications. We want to kind of get back to posting once a week. We've been traveling a lot though, so it's kind of been hard to do.
Yeah.
But now we're back. So
we're back.
Keep it updated, keep it going. It's good to see you all, and it's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure
to everyone.
See you guys.
Always a pleasure.